Good evening, good evening, family, and welcome to this week's edition of What's Going On. I'm your host, Pastor Akim Bandele. I hope you have had a good week this week. I know we had a long weekend for Memorial holiday weekend, and now we're almost at the end of another week. I welcome all of you tonight to our program. If you if you have not subscribed to our channel, we want to ask you to support us, subscribe to our channel tonight, and also press that notification bell so that every time we go live, you will be notified. Everyone that's already connected with us on YouTube and Facebook, we thank you for being part of What's Going On family. Well, what's going on tonight? I want to talk about Donald J. Trump convicted. I heard the news and it was kind of a surprise to me. The ex-president of the United States and the number one running person might be the president again, convicted on 34 different uh, felony charges. And that is interesting to me. I mean, Donald Trump guilty on all 34 felony charges after 12 hours of deliberation by the jurors. And I was listening to the news where they said, when he came out of the court, he was red-faced. After the verdict, is calling it a disgrace and all that. But really, 34 counts. Well, it's interesting because he is running for presidency again. And, I started thinking it to myself, with, some of the witnesses not being credible, and with so much going on with the election, I thought they would have a hung jury, but that did not happen. All the jurors found Donald Trump guilty of 34 felony charges. So now the question is, can a felon run for the presidency of the United States? The Constitution says it is very quiet about the felony thing. You just have to be certain age. You have to be born in the U.S. and you have to have, just about three criteria, I think. But what's so weird is a felon cannot even be hired at the White House. A felon cannot be at the West Wing of the White House, but a felony can be the president. Anyway, I've got Mac tonight that's going to join me. He's very vocal when it comes to things like this. He's very vocal on Facebook. He's very vocal on IG. Very vocal online. Mac Collins, what's going on tonight?
No, nothing too much, man. Thank you for having me on the show. I don't get here too often, so I'm appreciative of the moment.
Thank you very much for taking time out to join us tonight, Mac Collins. I know you got a lot of following on Facebook and YouTube. They're probably watching you right now. They know you. You don't bite your tongue. You've got your own opinion, and you're straightforward. You shoot straight, and it doesn't matter who gets hit or who doesn't get hit. But Mac, what do you think about the ex-president of the United States and still in the run for the presidency of the United States again for the second term, and now found guilty of 34 felony charges? What is your reaction to that news, Mac?
Okay, so first and foremost, the 34 charges are felonies that are not going to put him into jail.
Okay.
They are not the type of felonies that you would go to jail for. Second of all, if infidelity in this country is not frowned upon, um, I wouldn't say not frowned upon, but it's easily forgiven. So there are other people in similar shoes that say, if I got, involved with a woman that wasn't my wife and I'm trying to keep it hidden, I would go through lengths to keep that private.
But
So,
Mac, I don't think the lawsuit was about infidelity. I don't think the lawsuit about him
it's about hush
having a
money.
sexual relationship with another woman.
No, it's
I
about hush
think,
money.
and I don't even think it's about the hush money per se. See, and
Oh, it's
that's
not.
the
It's not.
that it's
It's not.
more of why did you hide the money behind legal fees for your attorney, knowing that it was a hush money, and you falsify business records. That's what the felony charges were about. That the business records was falsified so that the voters will not know that I think it has to do with campaign fund and all that
It's
stuff.
hidden.
So it's
It's
not
hidden.
really about sexual infidelity per se. It's about falsifying record to till the election towards you, so that you don't have that negative news out there.
Okay, well, your infidelity is what you're trying to hide. And whatever else happens is the byproduct of what you're trying to hide.
I see. I see.
Um, so
So
that's where that is.
now, and I was concerned because I say the number one witness of the prosecutors, Michael Cohen,
Liar.
he was a convicted felon himself,
Correct.
a liar, and actually, from his own mouth in testimony, ripped off Donald Trump, an organization, ripped him off financially, and was still allowed to testify. But I don't think the jurors really use is just his testimony. I think his testimony collaborated with other testimonies was what allowed the jurors to come to find Donald Trump guilty, because I mean the jurors came from all different backgrounds. Two attorneys on the jurors and all different backgrounds. So, and then they deliberated for 12 hours before they came up with this guilty verdict on all the 34 counts. So they really didn't base the guilt on Michael Cohen testimony. They based it on all the testimonies and all the documents and things that were submitted to the court system. And I want to say this to you also, Mag. The jurors, I mean, they had a hard job, a very, 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 very difficult job. Their lives were put on hold. They couldn't watch television. They couldn't talk to their families about the case. And I mean, talking about the justice system of America, my only thing is, because the key testimony, the main witness of the prosecutors, by him being a felon and lied, being a liar, why did they even choose him to testify? Maybe because he had facts, counsel checks and all that. But what was your reaction personally, though, that the ex-president of the United States convicted of 34 felonies?
To me, my personal take, it means absolutely nothing. It means nothing to his supporters. It means nothing to his voters.
Okay.
In short, the judicial system in Republican eyes is just a weapon to distract the campaign trail. While you're sitting in court on these charges, that's pretty much going to amount to probation. I don't know what entails probation. You're not finna send the president to jail and have Secret Service running 3 8-hour shifts a day, to make sure that he's okay in a jailhouse. So it's just not gonna.
Let's not talk about the sentencing, because I think the sentencing is set up for July 11th.
That's correct.
Set for July 11th. So let's wait on the sentencing. I want to commend the jurors, though. I want to commend them. because I watched some of the news while the case was going on. The jurors were paying attention. They were taking notes. They tried their best. And that's something about the justice system of the United States of America. The only thing I can commend the system for is for the fact that no man is above the law. That, to me, says something about the justice system, that the number one man in the United States could be found guilty of felonies. In other countries of the
Means
world,
nothing.
there is no way
nothing.
that will have happened.
It means nothing.
You said it means nothing.
If you had those 34 counts, sir, you, sir, would be going to jail.
But yeah, but you can't really say that yet, though, Mac, until they have the sentencing.
He's not going to jail. I can 100% confirm that right now from my inside sources. We'll leave the campaign to July 11th, but Donald J. Trump is not going to jail. And if it was you, you would definitely be doing some jail time, sir. But because our judicial system has favoritism and, certain rights for people of different calibers, you can pretty much play your way through it. Like, this is definitely a slap on the wrist. And in my opinion, has nothing to do with justice. It has to do with the fact that the Democratic Party does not appreciate this fella at all. They don't appreciate that the Republicans have chosen this man to be their front-running candidate. So you are doing whatever is in your power to, you really don't have to discredit him. He talks enough himself. But for his continuous supporters, you are doing everything in your power to weaken his campaign. And if you're not on the campaign trail and you're in a courtroom, that matters.
Well, so you think all of this is political?
I think 100% that this is political, for the simple fact that you knew this information in 2020. You did not deal with it. You knew it in 2021. You did not deal with it. You knew it in 2022. You did not deal with it. You knew it in 2023. You did not deal with it. Here we are in election year, and now just so happens when you're supposed to be on the campaign trail, you are now in the judicial system. And everybody can say, well, they were trying to build the case up. There are murder charges in this country that are determined in 2 years. So why does a hush money charge take 4? It takes 4 years because you're trying to correct the timing. You need the timing to be in people's memory. Had you charged this man 2 years ago, had you already convicted him 2 years ago, on the campaign trail he would be right now, because these are not jailable offenses to a president. He would be on the campaign trail and he would not be losing any type of ground. But I also think that this has backfired on him, because I think that the Republican Party has also realized that, this is a politicized ploy to discredit him. And I think in turn that Donald J. Trump will get more voters because of this actual indictment and these actual convictions.
So are you saying this is really a witch hunt then? Is that what you are saying? Are you echoing what Donald Trump has always said, that this is a political ploy? And
when you add the fact of how much this cost the court, when you add the fact of how this has all been drawn out, the money that is being shelled out to convict a man that's going to end up with 30 hours of community service.
Well, we don't know. We don't know that. We don't know that.
You do know it. We just not going to be in denial. There's nobody on God's green earth that right now that will tell you Donald Trump is going to jail. If you know them, please hit the little button over there and put them on the camera, and we'll see how where they get that from. Nobody on God's green earth thinks that Donald Trump is going to jail. So if he's not going to jail, why are we wasting taxpayer dollars on these indictments?
Okay. Mac, I appreciate that. If he's not going to jail and he can still run for the presidency of the United States, even though he cannot hire a felon at the White House, I'm still trying to wrap my hand around it. If a
He has
felon
not
can
lost
be the,
anything.
say
He
that
has
again.
not lost any. He has not lost anything but campaign time.
No,
That's
I'm not
all.
even talking about that. I'm talking about, let's just say he's successful and he becomes the new president of the United States as a felon, okay? As a felon. Uh, but from the things I've read with the laws of the US, if you are a felon, you cannot even work for the federal government. You cannot work in the White House as a felon. I mean, do you
That's
understand what I'm trying to say?
that's correct.
So if a
You
felon
know,
cannot work at the West Wing of the White House or work in the government, how is it that a felon can become the president of the United States? If I
there are
was,
different strokes for different folks. There is a loophole in the judicial system that is yet being used again. Because you're definitely right. I cannot go apply for a job at the White House right now because they're going to do an extensive background check on me and find out that, hey, at one point in life, this fellow was a knucklehead. So we're not going to hire him. Well, but there are no stipulations on the president of the United States,
can
and
you run? Can you run for the? Okay, if I was a felon, can I run for the president of the United States?
you can run for presidency being a felon depending on what your felonies are.
Okay, so but as a
I can't
felon, I
work in a
cannot.
jail though. I
As a
can't work in a
felon,
jail right now
as a
because I'm a
felon,
felon.
I can hold on, Mac. As a felon, I cannot work in a jail. As a
That's correct.
felon, I cannot work at a bank.
That's
As
correct.
a felon, I cannot probably work at a hospital.
Police officer, there's a
As
whole
a
lot of
felon, I
jobs.
cannot be a police officer. As a felon, I cannot work at the White House. But as a felon, I can be the president of the United States.
That is correct. That is judicial system loophole.
Wow, 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 wow. So instead of me trying to work, then why don't I just run for the presidency
Well,
if I'm a
you
felon?
know, I mean, I've heard that that position is a little harder than everywhere else in the White House.
Okay. Family, friends that are watching us tonight, this is Pastor Akin Bandele. I got my guest with me tonight, Matt Collins. We are talking about Donald Trump being found guilty of 34 felony charges. He's the ex-president of the United States, or the former president, rather, of the United States, and also number one man, running against the current president to be the president of the United States again. The sentencing will be July 11th. We don't know. People are saying it could be, sentencing between it could be between 6 years and 9 years for all the 34 counts. It could be 3 years. It could be 2 years. But then I start thinking, how will you put a former president in jail?
You're
Or
not.
and
You're
is it going to
not.
be house arrest, or will it be that okay? But if he wins the presidency, can he? Okay, as a felon, can a felon vote in the United States of America?
You can vote in the United States of America if you are no longer incarcerated.
If you
So
are no
yes,
longer incarcerated.
felons can definitely vote.
Okay, so he can vote for himself as a
That's
felon.
correct. That's correct.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, family, if you're watching and you have comments, or if you want to chime in on this conversation, you can call in. You can call the number 713-777-5000. 713-777-5000. I will take your call. Mac, put a charge out to all of you watching that you put your money where your mouth is. If you are out there and you feel like, yes, he is guilty of 34 felony charges, and yes, he's going to go to jail, Max said, get on the phone and call us. Get on that phone and call us, 713-777-5000, and we will put you on. Now, let me ask you another question, Mac. With the election, okay, we got a comment. Pastor, could there be unknown felons in the White House? No, because they're going to do background check on you. Betty, if you apply for a job in the White House, they're going to do a background check on you. If you're a felon, they will not even consider your application. So,
background check, blood test, urine sample,
hair sample, and all kind of stuff. So, yeah. No, ma'am. So, but she's saying maybe we may have some felons that are unknown. I don't know how you can become unknown if they have to hire you. You have to go through, some background checks to be hired. Anyway.
That's correct.
Genevieve Jacko said, good evening. How's everyone doing? Genevieve said, no, Donald Trump is not going to jail. Okay, I got a caller calling in. We're going to take that call right now. Caller, hold on. Okay, caller, you are online with Pastor Akin Bandele and also Mac Collins tonight. Betty, we got your call. Go ahead. What do you have to say? Hold on. Can you hear her? All right. Let me see if my AV team can help us with this. Go ahead. Go ahead. Talk. Let me see if we can hear you.
Could I be a clean slate person when I enter into the White House and become a felon while I'm in there?
Okay.
You're seeing it firsthand. You are seeing it firsthand right now.
Okay. So
barring appeal, he is a convicted felon right now.
No, Betty is saying, can you already be in the White House working and then you commit a crime, a felony?
Donald J. Trump was working in the White House. Donald J. Trump committed a felony, and it's still possible for Donald J. Trump to still be in the White House.
Okay, you heard that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Okay, Mac is saying Donald J. Trump was in the White House, and that even though he's convicted of felony, that he could still be in the White House. But I don't think Mac understands the question. I think the question is, Mac, you're already working at the White House as a staff, right?
That's correct.
You went on a Memorial Day holiday and you robbed a bank.
That's probably grounds for termination.
Okay, Mac said that's grounds for termination.
Okay, you are saying that Donald Trump, being a felon, that he should not be in the White House, but wasn't he already a felon and he was the president, even though he was not convicted? Do you feel that there could be others that have done the same thing and not yet known?
No, Betty, that's not what happened. He was not a felon in the White House. I mean, you can be accused. Until you are proved guilty, you are not guilty. So he was no longer the president. Okay, is considered a former president. While he was in the White House, he was not going to a court case. He was not being charged with anything, but he left the presidency, and then they brought the charges against him. So he was no longer the president when the charges was brought, but he was still not guilty. He was still very innocent in the White House, and outside the White House, he was still innocent until found guilty a few hours ago.
Okay, so my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, what he's been charged with, he done that before being a president or doing while he was a president, but they just didn't know.
It doesn't really matter whether they knew or not, whether he did it 5 years ago. It doesn't matter. What matters is when you are tried and found guilty. So you could have been an armed robber in the White House. You could have been a killer. It doesn't matter.
Hey, ask
You're
Google that.
not guilty until you
I
are found
understand that.
guilty.
I understand that.
So
I
if
think it had me, Miss Betty. I think it happened in 2016. I have to be. I would have to fact check that. But if these allegeds happened at the end of 2016, this would be at the end of his campaign.
and
Thank you, Pastor.
it won't really, okay, thank you very much for that call.
I mean, I'm sorry, at the beginning of his
It
campaign.
won't even matter, Mac. It won't matter. You can do any crime you want anytime. You are not guilty until you are found guilty. All of this was just allegations. Allegations of this, allegations of that, allegations of that. But
I think
until
Miss Betty was speaking on a moral level, not necessarily with judicial. Just morally, you were already a felon.
no, you are not. You see, you are not a felon until you see in America, you are not guilty until you are proven guilty and found guilty. Okay, so
You're
you
definitely
cannot
guilty.
tell me this is not. We're not talking about morally. We're talking about legally. It doesn't matter what you have done last year, 20 years ago. You are innocent until you are proven to be guilty. So that's what I'm trying to get across to all our viewers tonight. I hope all our viewers are still there. AV team, help me out. Are we still live? All right, we're still live. So Mac, let me see if we have any comments from our viewers tonight. All our viewers, if you want to call in, you can, and if you have any comment, go ahead and let's hear your comment about Donald Trump being found guilty on 34 felony charges. All right. Yolanda Ford, she said negative. Okay, she deleted a message. Okay. Let's see. She retracted her comment. I think it's just a cover-up. Ali says for all of them and think they will not get exposed. Okay, Betty say, is it justice? Then Ali say, you are right, Max. Donald Trump will not go to jail. Okay, let me see if Yolanda can call in because I think she retracted her message. Yolanda Ford, you can call in at 713-777-5000, 713-777-5000. Call us and we will take your call and we want to hear what you got to say. Well, family, again, thank you for joining us tonight. I was just really concerned that this is really a disgrace. To me, I think it is bad for America. I don't care what they say. It is bad for America, for our former president and maybe the new president to be convicted of 34 felony charges. And I've got Mac Collins saying now it was a witch hunt. No, it was a political ploy. No, they should have ran all of this. We've got another caller calling us right now. Let me take caller number 2, Yolanda. Good evening, Yolanda. How are you doing tonight?
Good evening, Pastor.
Good evening. Good evening. You are on air, Yolanda. Tell us what's on your heart.
Yeah, I want to disagree, and I typed the word negative in there because it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but that is not the justice system we work in.
Okay.
You will be guilty way before somebody's trying to prove you guilty. Sometimes it's based on your skin color. Sometimes it's based upon the situation of who you are. But that is not necessarily the role play that happens. I'm supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but a lot of times you're guilty and you're just guilty.
Okay. So I see Matt Collins giving you a thumbs up that you are right on the money. So Yolanda, help us out. Do you feel like the jurors did their job well?
I think they did based upon the facts that were presented to them. They were honest enough to basically be able to evaluate the situation and make a fair decision. Now, when you talk about what the overall results would be, I typed in there also that we don't know what the outcome will be. You can sit back and say he won't go to jail, but we don't even know. We don't know what's going to happen until it's finally done, right? I can assume, but you be careful with assumptions because we don't really know. So we have to just continue to seek the will of God and allow him to be able to, whatever his will is, because we don't even know.
Mike Collins is shaking his head. He's laughing out loud and rolling on the floor of my camera right now.
Not going to jail. Read my lips. That man is not going to jail. He will not see the inside of a jail cell. He didn't even see the inside of a jail cell when they booked him.
Okay, Max said, read my lips, Donald Trump will not go to jail.
I ain't saying no more about it until June 12th, when I'll say I told you so.
Okay, and what you're saying, Mac, is an assumption, right? Because you don't know.
No, this is fact.
You can assume
this is fact. History has showed us that political figures, especially political figures that have green, a lot of it, do not go to jail. We can look at history.
You were going to say a political figure, but I've got another caller that I'm trying to call, but I'm going to caller, just give us a few minutes until I get this caller off. We'll take your call in a minute. But Mac, you say a political figure will not go to jail, but I know a political figure, a state rep that went to jail and served term in jail. So just because it's a political figure does not mean he could not go to jail.
No. A political figure that has these type of charges, sir. Let me retract my statements.
Okay.
With what you have, with what is presented on the table, and your status in this society, you're not going to jail. That man will not see any facilities that will hold him up. Number one, first and foremost, if that were to happen, he is protected by the United States of America.
That means that the Secret Service will be there. But what about the house arrest, the house jail, where they say you couldn't travel out of the country, you could not travel out of the state, you stay in your house, you drink your coffee, you eat your food, but you are on house arrest. Could that happen, Mac?
Still does not stop you from being the president.
All right. Okay. Yolanda, Mac is bent on the fact that it doesn't matter what happens. Yeah, he said he can put all his paycheck on it that Donald Trump will not go to jail.
I will put two paychecks on it. Donald Trump will not see the inside of a jail cell.
Okay, Mac, Yolanda said time will tell. Well, Yolanda, you have any other comments? Any other comments for me?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for being friends of what's going on and for joining us tonight. Thank you very much. Well, callers, you heard Yolanda. Any other caller that want to call in, the number is 713-777-5000. 713-777-5000. If you want to chime in, we are talking about Donald Trump being found guilty on 34 felony charges. And I've got a guest on tonight, Mac Collins, saying that, number one, that was a witch hunt. That trial should have never happened. Number two, that it was a political stunt to not allow Donald Trump to be on the campaign trail. And then number three, he's saying Donald Trump will not serve time, will not be punished for being guilty on the 34 charges. He will not go to jail. So Alice Graham said, I'm with you. Lilette Newton said, yes, they did find him guilty. Okay. I believe Betty was calling. You can call back at 713-777-5000, and we will be glad to take your call. We are live. You are live with Pastor Akin and Mac on what's going on with Donald Trump found guilty on 34 felony charges. I was really surprised. I thought it would be a hung jury, Mac. Mac, what would be your advice to the people that are already going to vote for Donald Trump anyway, that may be That's the lady. Okay, I'll tell you what, before you answer that, let me take Vivian. I got Vivian, a caller on the phone. Hold on. All right, Vivian, I got you online. Welcome to What's Going On Tonight. What's on your mind?
Well, President Trump should have never been able to run, first of all.
President Trump should never have been able to run, first of all. Why did you say that?
Because he was too involved in everything that was going on.
He was too involved in everything that was going on, like what?
The bombing of the White House was already involved in that.
Okay.
All the people that were there. President Trump was guilty. He should have never been able to run for president.
Okay, Mac. My caller, Vivian, said, hold on.
Are we talking about 2016? Or are we talking about currently?
Okay, Vivian, Mac said, are you talking about 2016 or you are talking about being able to run currently?
Currently.
Okay, Vivian said currently.
It doesn't matter what they are, how serious people think they are. A felony is a felony.
That's coming from your heart. That's not the laws of the land.
Coming from the system.
The laws of the land says that you can be a felon and you can still be the president as long as there aren't certain felonies. There are certain felonies that in this country bar you from being the president. The felonies that he has been convicted of do not bar you from being president.
You can't go into certain areas as a felon. How can you become a president as a felon?
Vivian,
you have to talk to your congressman and have them change those laws. If you
Mac, I totally 100% agree with Vivian, and that's been my concern. If I was a felon, I could not hold a job at the bank. As a felon, I could not, go to, work at the prison system. As a felon, I could not work at the White House. As a felon, I could not even be at the West Wing of the White House. But as a felon, you can be the president of the United States. That's what Vivian is saying. And that's what I'm saying too.
You can't do those things.
Oh, because it's law. Because once they do your background check.
Okay, so whoa, slow down. We are talking about is law. And law says that law says that I can hold on.
Both of you, hold on. Mac, hold on, Mac. Let Vivian finish. Let my caller finish. Go ahead, finish your statement.
They were supposed to take off of the system, off of a person's system. After so many years, they were supposed to take it off of their records. They were supposed to clean their record off as a felon.
That's false.
Off their record.
That's false.
They've done their time as a felon. And they haven't even done that.
That's political. Listen, that's politically charged too. They do take it off, and then they take off your felon, but they still list it. So let's say, I killed somebody in 1994. It's been off my record, but it'll say, in 1994 he went to jail for killing somebody. So even though it has been removed from my record, there's still paperwork that says that I was involved in there. So let's just say if I was trying to get employed by somebody, you wouldn't be able to see that, I was convicted because
if it's expunged, yes. If it's expunged, they won't be able to see it, yes.
That's right.
They don't even expunge it.
But what Vivian, what my caller is saying,
American charge, they don't even expunge that off your record. Even that. They're paying lawyers so many thousands of dollars to try to get it expunged.
And it will still show up. It will show up as expungement. It will show up as dismissal. It will show up as whatever deliberation that has been placed on there. It will not disappear. It's almost like when people say you can be on a computer and you can delete stuff, but it's not ever truly deleted. I went to a job interview maybe a year ago, and they were pulling up stuff from 1997.
Okay. All right. Vivian, my caller, thank you very much for your comment. And like I said, I totally agree with Vivian. That was my question to Mac too, that if I could not work in the White House as a felon, how can the first man in the White House be a felon? Anyway, thank you very much, Vivian, for calling. Thank you for being a supporter of what's going on. God bless you. Yes, ma'am. Okay, everyone still watching us. Amen. That was one of my callers, Vivian. You know, kind of have the same views that I have as far as if I couldn't get a job in the White House as a felon, how can I, if I cannot get a job as an intern or get a job in the West Wing, but I can be the president in the West Wing as a felony, as a felon rather. Well, I think Mac is saying they need to find a way to change that law.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
There should be a way to change the law, because on the books, basically, from what I've been seeing, to be the president of the United States, you have to be a U.S. born. You have to be born in the U.S. You have to be 30, I believe, 35, 34 years old. I believe that's what that is. Hold on. You have to be, there are 3 things that I was just reading that earlier, that you have to be born in the U.S., you have to be 30-something years old, and you have to have lived in the U.S. 14 years. You can be born in the U.S. and live in another country all your life and then come back to run for the president of the United States. It will not work. So that's what the criteria is. So the Constitution really was very silent on a felon being the president of the United States. All right. Well, family, this is Pastor Akin again on this week's edition of What's Going On. We've got a lot of interaction from our viewers, from our callers, and also I want to thank my guest, Mac Collins, for joining me tonight. Mac, we have just a few more minutes before our program is over. Do you have something on your heart? Maybe I was asking you a question about Donald Trump supporters. And if I may ask you, are you a Donald Trump supporter?
Definitely. Have no problem saying that. I tell people.
Did you vote for him the last election?
I did.
Will you vote for him?
I will. I voted for him when he was elected in office. I voted for him when he lost, and I will be voting for him coming up
in November.
Election.
All right.
That's correct.
All right. So there is nothing he could do to make you not vote for him.
I don't think so.
On that one.
Yeah, I don't. I had to really search for that, but I don't think so. And it's, you know, it's just like the to me it's the lesser of 2 evils. I'm not a supporter of Joe Biden in any form or fashion. I'm not a supporter of Ms. Harris in any form or fashion. I can look at 2 and 3 decades worth of what work you've done, most importantly, what work you have done for Black people, and you just don't look good on the books. And I can also, on the flip side of things, you know, outside of what the media likes to show people, Black people have been affected by Donald Trump since the early 90s.
Okay, hold on. Affected positively or negatively?
Positively.
So let me ask you some questions about that, because I read some things. You know, he was charged federally for discrimination against Black people trying to rent apartment in his building, where they will put N on the application to show there's a Negro, don't rent to them. And it was actually charged, and they settled out of court, he paid the fines for that, okay? So he's had some history of not really caring about Black people. And I know he's made comments like,
I don't think that's a play of not caring about Black people. I think that's your perception of, you know, how you feel about a certain group in your building. There are closets.
So hold on. So you got a building, but you feel certain way about Black people in your building? What does that mean? Is that racism?
That's open racism. That's not closeted. Closeted racism is you bring me a Starbucks coffee, but you spit in it. So I think me and you are friends, and we really aren't. You really don't like me, but you put up the presentation of me and you are cool. Versus Donald Trump coming in there and saying, "Hey, I do not like you.
I don't like you."
That's correct. And I can respect the fact that I know exactly where you're coming from. I know that me and you do not go together because you have verbally vocalized that to me. Now, you can tell me I do like you, I'm cool with you, but do things behind my back that aren't conducive to telling me that you like me.
I've got a caller right now. Caller, you need to turn your TV down. Turn your TV down. You are feeding back. Caller, turn your television down. There you go. Caller, we got Betty. Betty, our caller. What caller? What's on your mind?
I want to make sure I got this clear. He was able to run for president in this term because he was not a convicted felon. So he had the right to campaign to be the president, because your earlier statement said that he was not a felon until he became convicted and gone to court of this crime. So he had every right to run for the president. Is that not correct?
Okay. Let me elaborate on what we said. He may have committed crime before when he was the president the last time. He might have committed some crime. That's not the issue. He might have committed crime while he was in the White House. That's not the issue. He might have committed crime or allegedly committed crime while he was out of office. That's not the issue. The issue is, it doesn't matter what you have done then, now, or whatever, until you are found guilty.
Right.
Okay. So now that is found guilty, Mac is saying it really doesn't matter, because a felon can say, let me finish. Now that he is found guilty, Mac is saying that a felon can still run for presidency of the United States.
Okay. My comment was not toward what Max said. It was toward a felon. A person that has a felon should not be able to run for presidency. So the second term, with him running for presidency, he was not a felon according to what you have said. Until he is a convicted felon, he is not a felon.
He's a felon now because he's convicted.
But he was already running for presidency.
Oh, okay, Mac, I see what Betty is saying. Betty is saying he was already running for presidency. Even if the law says a convicted felon could not be the president of the United States, what Betty is saying is he was innocent and he was already in the race for presidency. So, and I see what she's saying. I finally understood what she's saying. So he was already running before the guilty verdict came out. Let's just say there's law on the books that says that a convicted felon could not be the president of the United States. I think, Betty, what will have happened is, even though it's already running, the Republican Party will have had to find another man to represent them. But because that law is not on the books, it doesn't matter that he's a felon. He can continue to run and he can still be the president of the United States. Thank you very much for your call. Sorry we misunderstood your question. All right. Well, Mac, you heard the verdict. Well, family, not all Black people. The last said not all Black people. Yolanda said that's really sad. Well, family, I know we could go on and on and on. My time is up tonight. We've had a great program. I want to thank all of you for your, for calling in and for your comments. I know some people don't want to call in. They're scared to call in, but oh, Mac, I'm going to give you the next 30 seconds. 30 seconds. What's on your heart about all of this?
It's witch hunt, it's false tactics, it's distractions. We have a whole lot of things going on in the world right now. We shouldn't even be having discussions about Donald J. Trump. This in a scheme of everything that's going on with the world right now, this is what has our attention. This is what they're pumping on us. And the president is going to be the president.
So Donald Trump going to be the next president?
I 100% feel that. I 100% feel that the people of a different version of color than us are going to reassemble. I also feel like there are a lot of people that were destined not to vote for Donald Trump, but I also think that this politically charged judicial system, I think, is going to gain him other voters. That's just my personal opinion. We'll see this in November, but I honestly think that the effects that the Democratic Party was looking for, I think they're going to be in reverse. I think that people are viewing this as unfair treatment. I know that people can tell that, hey, man, you guys have had this information for a long time. You guys have, in my opinion, all the facts that they gave, like, you clearly knew that this man was guilty long ago. So I never said that, so let me go ahead and put that out there. I 100% feel Donald Trump was 100% guilty on all of them. Like, there is no doubt in my mind that, you actually did that. Just the character of the man, I honestly feel that is something that you would do.
Also, you felt like the jurors were right, that he was really guilty.
Yeah, I don't feel like, oh yeah, man, you didn't do it. They wrongfully accusing him. That's not my my angle at all. My angle is, if I was to be tried, if I was indicted with those things, I would, whatever punishment that they had handed me, I would be done
before this election.
I would be. That's right. I would be on with my life, doing whatever positive changed in my reform. You can't and I also think that that's a area that they could go into also. If you charged him 2 years ago, when this man started doing humanitarian efforts and started showing, doing things for women's rights and showing that, hey, I'm changed, I made a mistake, like, you had time to actually gain the support back of your supporters, that would be different. So you didn't do that. I think this is strategically categorized moves that you're making to discredit him because you want to take away votes, not because he broke the law.
Well, Mac, I didn't know you felt that way, actually, that you felt like he was actually guilty, but you just didn't like the way they brought the case, that they should have done all that 2 years ago last year, that they waited till the election year. I see.
Deliberately. I think that is 100% deliberately. Like I said, if you kill somebody in this country, it takes 2 years to convict you or acquit you. So why is a hush money scheme taking double the time and you have to think about what goes into a murder trial, how much evidence you have, how ballistics, all these things that come into play, versus I gave a woman money to be quiet about our extramarital affair. Like, they don't line up. So I definitely.
Well, remember, it's not the fact he was not tried for giving the money, paying the money for the woman to hush. It was the fact that the money was hidden and our business record was falsified so that it won't come out before the last election, and which could bother on actually trying to sway election your way by buying, so it wasn't about the alleged extramarital affairs or giving a prostitute some money. I mean, it was not about that. I think it was about falsifying business records. And you falsified
what you did to hide it. It's not what you did. It wasn't what he did. It was what he did to hide it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I got another, I've got Pastor Joshua Seminigans saying we have to pray more than before. And Betty, amen, Prophet Lilette, seriously praying more than ever before. Well, family, we're going to have to stop here. I tell you what, we'll pick this up next week. We will continue next week. Mac, if you're available next week, we'll be glad to have you back on our program. I want to thank you, Mac, tonight for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on our program tonight. And every caller that have called us, thank you for calling in. And everybody that commented, thank you for your comments. Let's pray for the United States of America. Let's pray for Donald Trump. Let's pray for everyone that God's will be done. Well, until next week on this same channel, this is yours truly, Pastor Akin Bandele, on this week's edition of What's Going On. I love you. You'll have a great week. God bless you. Good night.